fellow Earthlings, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of And Another Thing with Dave. I just kind of wanted to do a personal introduction to this episode. A thank you. It's kind of a year-end episode. There's going to be two more episodes in the year, and Freedom Rain is going to be my guest wrapping up the year. I met him on the Stereo app, and I'll read his bio right here. Freedom Rain, Oakland, California, music, poetry, elementary teacher in graphic design, individual thinker and destroyer of narratives. We get into it about why education is not free in the U.S. This is going to be a great podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to all the listeners from throughout the world. We've got listeners from India, the United Kingdom, Canada, Romania, the Netherlands, Russia, Thailand, the Czech Republic, and many more. Thank you so much. I am humbled. All right, let's get into it.
Oh, shit. May going off on me because what I said about her comment about the homeless. I didn't know what she was saying. Let's see what she said.
Whoa.
I did not say it that way. Absolutely not. No.
Oh, okay.
I don't like what I'm seeing with them. I'm not against the homeless factor. I came pretty close to it myself at one point. Yeah, the shopping cart stealing has gotten out of hand because what the stores are doing now is making you pay a deposit down on a shopping cart because of the shortages. They're being selfish about taking those and using them for their personal gain instead of leaving them for the people who use them in the supermarkets. So, I don't know where to fix that, but I have seen enough of it in Las Vegas, more of it than I've ever seen in New York in my life. And I think what our mayor has done has basically drawn the line to impeding on people's rights. I don't think you should have a choice of going to jail, having a fine given to you.
Just a little side note. There's a great documentary called The Carts of Darkness about this group of homeless people in Seattle that race with shopping carts down gigantic hills.
Don't say that. Now you're going to make me think that there's some illegal racing subdivision over there. That's where all the carts going. They over here.
There might be. Somebody's building some drag carts.
Yeah, and they're betting everything they get changed all day just to go bet it, and whoever comes up is like the king. Oh, that'd be cool.
Carts of Darkness. Check it out on YouTube.
He's gallons. All right, let's go. Adorable, deplorable.
Establishing free college tuition benefits for more Americans would essentially be the 21st century equivalent of the Depression-era Works Progress Administration initiative. That particular program not only created immediate work for the unemployed, but also offered skills training for nearly 8 million unskilled workers in the 1930s. Just as we did in the 20th century by laying the foundation for our current system of universal free high school education and rewarding our World War II vets with free college tuition, the 21st century system of higher education we build must include the opportunity to attend college tuition free, whether that's community college or trade schools. And I think that conservatives need to recognize the fiscal responsibility of that policy.
Bro, you be saying
agree.
Shit. I agree.
I agree wholeheartedly,
like
man.
That's so smooth. I was like, is he reading? Nah, he just coming off the head with that. Okay.
I think,
for real.
Yeah, you ought to run for office, buddy.
Yeah. Imagine that. Put those Republicans in check and put them Democrats in check. Shout out to Adorable Deplorable. Shout out to Royalty. What's up, Royalty in the building? Celeste, Eva, Shay, the Nomad, Vedanya, and May, the poet. We appreciate
Thank
y'all.
You all.
We're going to get through the rest of these ditties, and then we'll do kind of our closing pieces. We really appreciate y'all. What we have been talking about is why is college not free? And we brought up both sides of the argument. People saying, yo, I had to pay for college. Why should you get it for free just to be the competition in my job? And so some people don't want that. Other people are saying it should be. It will help the economy. It's an investment in the citizens. So go ahead and chime in with your opinions. If you went to college if you're going to college or you went to college and you paying for it, does it bother you that somebody else will be going for free next year, absolutely free? Would you still be mad if they then said, okay, but I'm eliminating all of your college debt? Let us know.
Right.
Let us know.
There we go.
May the poet. This is. You have something to say?
No, I was going to say, bring it, people. Let us know what you need, what you think.
Let's go. We did start talking about homelessness too, so that might be some
Yeah,
of the comments that we respond to right now.
the net went pretty wide, man. The conversation went all over the place. We've been on for like almost going on like 2 hours now, and yep,
Yeah.
it's been awesome.
Yeah, it
So
has.
rewind, listen. If you just came in, listen to the beginning. Go back, listen to the beginning when we wrap up. But like he said, we'll probably go through the messages. So leave a message, and then we'll give our closing arguments.
Appreciate y'all. Right. May.
Oh
Much
yeah, well I
love,
expected
everybody.
it to get worse. Another thing, I mean, Dave, I expected it to get worse, but okay, now I'm thrown off on thought. So I don't agree on the mayor's wonderful cleanup program, putting them in jail when they
Damn.
could be needing psychological help. It's not exactly the smartest thing to do, and there's enough crazy people in jail anyway, but you don't have to like double the population that way. I don't approve of that at all. There's got to be something else better done. We have so many buildings out here in Vegas that could be renovated and used for housing the homeless if our mayor would just go ahead and basically authorize it, which he won't. But I don't agree on the law at all, but the way they started this, no, not at all.
Right. And that's a great
Point.
point. It's a great point. Not assuming that every person who's homeless wants to be homeless. Like, obviously, there's some
Right.
people out there who are going through hard times. Some are disabled. Some are veterans. There's mental illness. There's so much abuse. Not everybody's homeless just because they want drugs. Like, stop it.
Well,
And not everybody.
and then let's stop looking at addiction like a crime, and let's look at it like a
It's a
mental
sickness.
or
Exactly.
like a health situation, right? So we can a lot
Exactly.
of people we could get off of addiction.
Exactly. Not every homeless person is taking shopping carts and having a Fast and the Furious racing rig downtown. Okay. Okay. And another thing, these girls. And you in Vegas, hey, what if they just had one of those slot machines in a casino for homeless people where it's free? We just go, you
Right,
pull the lever. If you win, then you get like hella change, and then you could go play that change. It's some people would
right.
abuse that, right? Hell no, I know one of my aunties is addicted to casinos. She'll probably come in there dressed like she's homeless and
Well,
start
no, but
pulling the shit out of
no,
that
but they'd
lever.
have to have like an AI sensor, right, to prove that
Oh
you
yeah,
haven't showered in 3 days.
yeah. When you touch the knob, it's gonna search the saturation in your hand.
Right.
That's
The
okay.
grease
You going too
level.
far?
Yeah.
The grease. All right, let's go. May the poet.
The
But I
worst part
just
of the
had
homeless problem
chicken.
is the strip. They cleaned it up really well about a year and a half ago. I have been up there recently, and the homeless are back by the elevators, sleeping in the elevators, passed out, begging for change, which may not be a homeless person, like you said. It could be somebody who's living very well and just doing this for a living and looking dirty and filthy just to make the buck, which I think is kind of misleading.
Double
I
scandalous.
never
Yeah.
contributed to something like that because I've seen undercover reporters see homeless people on the street and then they're living in better apartments than I am. So,
That's
our
fair enough.
mayor, who's had her 2 terms, I don't think she could run a third term, has really basically just had the cops do extra duty by picking up homeless people and arresting them. Um, and if there's no room in those shelters, then they're still on the street.
Yeah,
That's out of
that's the
pocket.
problem we see, statewide in California is
Mm,
they treat it like a legal problem, but the jails are overcrowded, yada 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 yada. And
right.
what's the end goal? Is there a place for the person? No. Oh shit, no, there's not. So
Right. I need you to get
what's
off the
the
street. Where do I
solution?
go? I don't know where you about to go, but if not, nowhere, jail. It's like, are you
But not over
serious?
there anymore. Right.
And like you said, if you went to jail and some of this basically slave labor you're doing, creating Old Spice and Levi's jeans and license plates, if that was actually a paying wage that you could save up and come out of jail with some bank, and or say, hey, well,
Imagine
this is
that.
you have these skills you learned in jail, here's a job, then a lot of these homeless people and criminals will come out not feeling like they're on the blacklist. Like, stop playing.
Right.
You
Exactly.
have to
And
do better.
how, I mean, come on, no apprenticeship program in our prison system.
None.
That tells you everything right there.
Right. And they
Come
know,
on.
as a
Brutal.
teacher, this is what they said in this training. They said that the private prison industry knows by how many kids are failing middle school or cannot read at a grade level by middle school. They calculate how many prison beds and cells to build with that number, right?
Oh
So
my God.
that's the
Instead of
first
building
crazy shit.
schools.
Instead
Right.
of building schools, they calculate, say, okay, we'll build this many prisons, cells, and then they also know that people who go to prison are twice as likely to violate or re-enter prison. So you can almost say that they're doing this as a business, building these prisons, and they
Right.
want to retain customers just like any other
Oh yeah.
business. So it's
Uh-huh.
crazy. Private prisons are
Absolutely.
crazy. It's
That's
crazy.
absolutely right. People talk about the school to prison pipeline,
Yep.
and you just
Yep.
nailed
You
it.
said it.
You
You
just
said it.
nailed it. Yeah.
Let's go. Eva Shea, the Nomad.
So it's not just because I paid. I mean, it does make me a little bitter sometimes, but it's honestly in part because I feel like, who are we benefiting? It's sort of like when affirmative action came out and a lot of white people were mad because they're like, oh, these blacks are coming to our schools for free, when really it benefited white women the most. So if we just blanket make tuition free without eliminating like all sorts of students that are like suffering and crumbling under debt,
Sure.
I think it would inequitably impact the people that could afford education in the first place without making the systemic change that we need. So I'm not saying we shouldn't have free tuition. I think I'm for like affordable tuition. Like, you should be paying like $300 a semester to go to college. That's what I would say. Not, $300 a credit hour.
Right. What do you say
I
about
still
that?
think it should be free, but very well said, though. Very well said.
Yeah, like $45 to $50 a unit is out of pocket. Like, are you kidding me right now?
Crazy. That's crazy.
And I get what you're saying about like affirmative action, for example. But here's my thing: is it takes my first couple years in college. My mom didn't let me take no break between high school. I was like, "Yeah, mom, I'm gonna take a couple years off." She was like, "Nope, you going after the summer." I was like, "Damn." So nobody's gonna go to college and do all that fucking work. It was a different level of work to get over on the system. And just like Dave said, if you're not producing, or if you're not, just like FAFSA, if you're not hitting 12 units every semester and delivering on those grades, they take it. So I don't think you're going to have hella people applying to college just to be in school because it's free.
No.
If we was giving out checks, maybe they would. And then again, it should be attached.
But it's
like,
hard work.
It is hard work. It's not the same. And then having it connected to an apprenticeship or a job is like, all right, what do you declare your major? Okay, you go in. So these are the classes that are free for you. This is your pipeline, your pathway. It's paid for, and you get a job right after. Not just like you write, like you got a bunch of people. Hey man, I'm just gonna take a couple semesters of art, bro, and smoke a joint on the lobby. Like, not like that.
Dude, I got my BA in liberal arts, bro. Now I work at Starbucks on the corner, bro. What have you been up to, bro?
Yeah, we're not trying to do that. You're right about that. Eva Shea, thanks for articulating why you don't think. She said partly because I paid. I'm a little bitter. I'll keep it 1,000. We eliminating your debt, girl. If your debt is eliminated, why are you hating on the next person?
Right. Debt elimination is the first thing, because otherwise people would be hating on other people. So you can't have that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They're going to be like, what am I getting out of this? You done. Right. Yeah, let me just play because I was about to go to tangent. Eva Shea.
I feel like student debt elimination is in a way reparations for the government participating in an exploitive plot against young students. Like at 17 years old, there are kids who are signing up to graduate with $100,000 in debt. That's exploitation. Girl. They should have never been allowed to do such a thing, in the same way that they can't consent to sex, Yeah. So that's why I just feel like we need to solve all the issues, not one issue, not just legalize weed, but let the prisoners fee too and give them some money for their time in the pen.
Girl, preach. She said college debt elimination is akin to reparations, motherfucker.
And I
Okay.
agree. I agree.
Shit. That's a
I
fucking
agree.
racket. Yeah, you
Yeah.
absolutely right. That's crazy. All right. Adorable, deplorable.
So I wanted to touch base on something that Dave said, and
You in
I
trouble,
don't know
Dave.
exactly verbatim, so I apologize if it's wrong.
You're in
But you were
trouble,
talking
buddy.
about small businesses being the largest job creators, and I think that statement is a little misleading. If you look at the SBA's most recent analysis, which I think was back in 2019, current employed people at the time in the US, only about 44% worked for small business. So it's inaccurate to say that they provide the most jobs because more people still work for large companies in America than they do small companies. It is accurate to say that small business is responsible for the majority of net job creation. Over the last about 5 years, it's been 64% of new jobs come from small business.
Thank you for the
Defend
correction.
yourself.
I believe that's I believe that's what I was trying to say, and thank you for coming correct and correcting me with exact factoids. Appreciate that.
That was dope.
Yeah,
Factoids. All
much
right,
appreciated.
let's keep it going. Eva Shay.
So I've kind of seen both sides of Amazon. I've been in the stock house or whatever. I did it for 3 weeks during peak season. Completely inhumane conditions, racist
Girl.
connotations. We all called it the
Girl.
plantation because racist white people
Oh,
chose your schedule and worked you to the bone there. Okay.
Mm.
damn.
Anyway, well, when I was in college. And I've also been on the interviewing side of Amazon, like when I was
Mm.
interviewing to be a software engineer versus being in a warehouse, and they paid a lot of fucking money, like 140K. But at the same
Wow.
time, you also got paid in stocks. And I couldn't help but wonder, why is it only the software engineers and the tech
Right.
people that are being paid in stock as well as cash incentives? That should be everybody in the company. Like, if you're putting 40 hours
Mm-hmm.
a week in warehouse, you should get an extra 10% bonus in stock, and that would sort of balance the divide a bit.
Great
I've been saying that
points.
forever. Like people say, like, what are you? Are you anti-capitalist? No, I'm anti our current structure of capitalism. A co-op is still capitalism, right? So
Yeah.
imagine if Amazon, if everybody got $5 more, $10 more an hour, and got stock options in the company instead of just the CEO and the the shareholders getting all the benefits, right? It's just how we structure capitalism that's all fucked up. It all
Period.
goes to the top. There is
Our
no trickle down. Like the
right.
only trickle down that happens is a urinal. Do you want to be the floor under a urinal? That's trickle
Hey,
down politics.
you're right. There's two different. There's a free market, individual based capitalism that supports the people, the traders, right? And then there's this corporatocracy version of capitalism, which serves the highest interests of the biggest, most conglomerate organizations, and that's what we have. So I hear what
Yep.
she's saying is like we've got to stop with this attitude that the hardest, most backbreaking labor is dumb people labor, and you should be compensated less and looked at as
Right.
less even though you're working harder and doing a harder job than other people. For example, somebody who is at the stack line, like she was saying, picking up heavy ass boxes, operating heavy equipment. And then there's somebody else who's sitting up there with pizza and coffee typing away. Now, that's not to
In an
say,
air
Eva
in an
Shay,
air
that
conditioned office
in
making
an air conditioned
$100,000.
office. Right. And making way more and getting stock. And that's not to say that Eva Shay, that coding isn't hard and that it's not meticulous and that you didn't work hard to do that. But again, looking down on people who are doing like, for example, I'm gonna go back again to undocumented workers, right? Here
Hmm.
are people who are working on hot ass farms, literally dying of heat exhaustion to produce the goods and foods that we take for granted. And we look at these people as peons, as the lowest class of our society. Not even
That's
just
crazy.
undocumented, but any farm, like any um, laborers on the farm. I'm not talking about farm owners, and I'm not talking about your steroided ass, beefed up ass, fat plug chickens and cows. God bless them too. I'm talking about the hardest workers in America. I'm talking about your janitors, your public service workers, your teachers. These people are paid the least and looked at like, that's dumb people work. And then the guy who learned how to code or who learns how to invest in stocks and move those buttons, you're right. Work harder, work smarter, not harder. But that's a little ridiculous. Like, for example, David Rockefeller and Rothschild. How much back-breaking labor do you think they've done in their whole fucking life?
Zero calluses. I would bet. Zero calluses.
Y'all supporting them when we think like that. Come on now.
Yep.
No, exactly. Great point, Ivache. Great points.
Yep.
All right, gay Republican.
Right.
The problem with providing anything that's quote unquote free, and this is one of my frustrations that I have with a lot of my conservative colleagues, is that the conversation is driven by politics as opposed to economics. For a party of fiscal responsibility, they don't really advocate for long-term programs that are going to create financial stability for the US. This is going to be one of those things, if I ever run for office in a Republican primary, I'm going to get crucified for. But that's why I support socialized medicine and universal health care. But the United States already spends 18% of GDP on the socialized medicine that it does provide, which is Medicare programs and the VA, and we have dismal results. One of the lowest life expectancies and highest infant mortality rates. Socialized medicine can drop our overall spending of GDP to 12% and cover more people.
Thank you, gay Republican. And I think you would draw people from the Democratic Party towards you.
Yeah,
because
you'd be like a Ron Paul, bro.
Exactly. I think you would be, and you'd get third-party people like myself looking at you, because those are magic words that you just said, for most Americans right now, I feel.
Right.
And nobody's willing to go there to talk about the pink elephant in the room, healthcare.
Right. And especially because just like I jokingly said during your comment, you commie. And that's what unfortunately a lot of people are going to. And we've been geared towards it since the 60s, right? It's like, oh, somebody talks about that, you're a socialist, you're a communist, and that's akin to being a terrorist. Stalin. Right. I'm going to equate you with the worst people in history because you just said that. When we have a lot of socialist programs, and nobody's saying that America needs to go from a capitalism to a socialism, but just like David, and another thing is saying, we're not exactly talking about capitalism that supports and makes the average person work and feel better. It's corporations are reveling in this, and we're getting smaller, they're getting more powerful.
We can redesign the system.
Exactly. We got royalty in the building. Speak to us, Queen.
Why college is not free?
Tell us.
Damn, imagine if education was free worldwide. That shit would be amazing. But even better than that,
our money ain't free. Why can't you just give it to me?
Free money.
I don't want to work for nobody. I'd rather keep doing me.
That would be even fucking better. Shout out to the panel. What it do, Freedom Rain? What it do, Dave?
What's up?
She threw in the slap. Yeah, imagine that world, though. Imagine that world. The first thing people are going to say, though, salty as fuck, because I get it. You felt like you got chewed up and spit out by the economic system, and now you see somebody else getting ahead. You're rightfully going to be pissed. But the first thing people ask is, it's not free. Where's that money coming from? That's coming from my pockets. I'm like, bruh,
No, it's not coming from your pocket. We just spent $1 trillion in Afghanistan.
About to say that. Out the cuts. And we just wrote, I don't know how many $1 trillion infrastructure bill. We do this. Bruh, we pull money out our ass anytime we want to. Stop playing with me. Stop playing.
Hasn't been based. Yeah, money hasn't been based on gold or anything
Exactly.
since the 70s. So it's
Federal
just
Reserve.
a matter of somebody being like, sign it. Okay, let's create some ones and zeros on a computer somewhere.
Exactly. And again, when we're talking about printing all this free money for this bullshit, it's coming out of our kids' pockets. So an investment in those kids is something like trade schools, free college, things like this. So if you're going to take money from them, take the resources that's going to be on their planet, fuck the Amazon and put oil in the water for this generation, then hey, at least invest in them a little bit. Talking about, oh, it's coming out of my pocket. It's your kids, bitch.
Give them a way to get ahead. Exactly.
Give them a way to get ahead. It's a hard knock life. Go ahead, May.
No, wait a minute. Sorry, my voice has gone to hell again. I've been sick with the flu. God, it brings back memories. I used to be a cashier in a supermarket called the A&P, and there was a market in New York, and when the store closed, we would bring the carts in, of course, out of the parking lot, and me and the guy from Seafood, and when it got closer to us leaving, we would race around the store in shopping carts.
Oh, damn.
Which the manager insisted upon us just letting out the steam from the day, and it was always hysterical to race up and down the aisles and just go round and round in circles. It was crazy, but that I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to look into that documentary. I just don't understand the solution in Vegas at all, and that's the way it is.
And that's just the way it is. Play that,
That's the way it is. Solutions are tough, but then there's like funny movies like The Carts of Darkness.
Bruh, you out of pocket. Hey, your boss sounds hella cool, like Glenn from Superstore. That's something Glenn from Superstore would do. I love watching that show.
Right.
Things will never be the same. And Royalty got that other song stuck in my head. Oh, we got Frenchie Queen in the building. Talk to us,
Frenchie.
What up, dudes? How's it going tonight?
What up? What up?
College is not free. Because
why?
The world runs on money. It makes the world go round. But I guess if you want to go to college for free, you could probably move to Sweden. Because I'm pretty sure Sweden and Finland, like, you can go to college for free over there. They just have higher taxes.
Yeah.
You know what Germany started doing a few years ago? Allowing people from the United States to move to Germany and go to college for free.
Oh,
like, how smart is that?
That's because they want this good, hardworking American blood in their country.
Yeah.
Thanks. And by the way, money doesn't make the world go round. It's gangsters make the world go round. No, literally gangsters. Those politicians, those greedy ass corporations, they are white collar criminal gangsters who are profiting off of you. They make that shit spin. Tell them they don't. Now, let me stop. May.
What he said.
May a zippo
I don't know about the free slot machine thing because since the pandemic, there's been a cutback on a lot of the machines, and it's been more of an open casino floor than you could ever possibly imagine. I suppose that could work. Yeah, I don't think every homeless person is a derelict either. I think some of them are in it for, businesses failing and bad decisions made, and the eviction moratorium. And there's so much to look at than just the one-sided that they're out there and cluttering the streets. So that's not, the only reason that they're there. Not at all. Holy shit, what are they doing upstairs over my head?
I heard that too. That's like
Denise is going up there to look. She's having a fit. We're trying to relax here. There's somebody moving
wedding
shit.
Night for the neighbors.
Yeah. Don't you wish those guys were unsheltered? No, I'm just kidding. That was too far.
Glad we didn't hear any gunshots or anything in the background.
Right. She over here in Vegas getting down. What you got? Adorable, deplorable.
The whole problem with anything free or that's covered by taxpayers, whether it's college, whether it's universal health care, etc., is you've got too many fucking elitist entitled bitches that are like, I don't want to pay for that guy.
Yeah,
and that's the problem, is nobody wants to give to their fellow man. At the end of the day, they're too stupid to realize that you're paying for them. You're paying for the unemployed. You're paying for the undereducated. You're paying for people who don't have access to health care.
Right.
Those social programs already exists to subsidize their inability to pay. And that comes from your taxes. The more that we recognize that by creating a pool of services that can allow people to do that, including universal basic income, which I actually do support, then we're not going to actually see long-term change.
Gay Republican, you are so on point right now.
You're a fucking unicorn. You are a unicorn amongst Republicans.
He is so on point right now.
Yeah, agreed. Let's go.
All right, thanks for tuning into another episode and another thing with Dave. Please follow, subscribe, and share. I'm on all social media and another thing with Dave. And keep seeking the truth.